Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Trademark Sports Podcast. We got a very, very special Origin edition this week. We are joined by my good friend Dane Ross. Say hello, Dano.
Oh, thank you. Yep, that's me. Hello.
All right. So, some of you very, very keen listeners might remember Dane from way back last year. We did a few episodes on the Zoom together. Now, he's got the call up because he's a very passionate blues man. And first off, basically, uh, us as Blues fans, we get ridiculed a lot for not getting Origin, and I think we have a man here who, despite living in WA, definitely gets Origin. Dano, firstly, what's your thoughts on just people who rip into guys like us saying we don't get Origin?
Oh, well, it's just insulting for one thing. Just it it hurts me. People don't understand the passion that us Blues fans have. I can remember, when you and I were together at the
Hmm.
2019 decider in Game 3, sitting in the Blackies Blues. If you had sat there, the emotion when James Tedesco scored that try, I just remember standing up. I remember it was like a rain of beer come down on us. I
Yeah.
was hugging random blokes next to us in Blues jerseys. I remember that like as one example. And I can remember in 2014, I was 13 years old. My brother was 11, and I hadn't
Nice.
seen the Blues win since I was 4, so I didn't remember it. And
Hmm.
he was 2, so he clearly didn't remember it. And I can remember watching it at home in the lounge room, and both of us were in tears watching, after the game, Jared Hayne, Paul Gallen, blokes like that, and we were in tears. Like, I can't explain like what it means. I can only, it's just it means a lot.
It certainly does. And it's like, it's one of those things that's so frustrating. It's like, I can't stand Queensland because of what you just said. The fact that I was, what, yeah, 13, 14 when we finally won again. And
Yeah,
it was just like, I grew up, like, Origin for us was growing up, we're getting pumped every year. Like, we
yeah,
had nothing. And
100%.
it's like, we just, the hatred that they robbed us of a childhood
Oh,
for Origin. Like,
you
it's
and
just, oh,
the thing that bugs me the most is that every year they come up with a thing, and during that 8 year dynasty, somehow they were, oh, we're the underdogs, we're the
I
plucky
know.
little, oh, no one wants us to win. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. Jonathan Thurston, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater, Cameron Smith, Darren Lockyer, Greg English, Justin Hodges, like, fuck off. You're the
All,
underdog.
like, in another 10 years, there's going to be an immortal conversation, and it's all going to be 4 or 5 players from that Queensland team because they've all got to be in
A
this time
hundred
out. It's
percent.
it's the best rugby league team ever assembled.
100% it
Like,
is. And
it's
those years
ridiculous
when I used to actually struggle to cheer for Australia when Australia played
because
because
they're
they were
all
majority
Queenslanders.
Queenslanders. I could not cheer for Billy Slater. I just couldn't do it.
There was a while there, it was like Queenslanders, Paul Gallen, Brett Morrison, Jared Hayne. That's all.
That was,
That was the
yeah,
team.
literally.
Um, oh, there's another thing I was going to mention too. Oh, and that's like with the underdog stuff. They try and say the underdogs for this series, and it's like, are you serious? You've won the
Yeah,
last two
they're
series in a row. We've got our whole team out. There's no
yeah.
ways are underdogs. Oh, you got a bigger player pool. Who cares? We had pretty much nearly have our whole. You can make it probably a starting 13 of gun blues players that are injured at the moment. It's
Did you
ah,
see yeah, no, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, 100%. It's fucked. And they've been drinking too much Forex, and which is a shit beer, by the way. Terrible.
absolutely, absolutely. Would rather drink my own excrete. Um, but I do have some stats for us for game
Hmm.
one in Origin that are probably going to then give all the Queenslanders ammo to say they're underdogs because they're very heavily New South Wales biased. First stat is, I don't know, actually, first stat is a stat I saw from Random Stats Guy. Shout out to him if you haven't looked at his stuff, please do because it's fantastic.
Fucking
But
better than your stats.
yes, a lot better than my stats that matter. Check that out on Instagram as well. So his stat was the last 4 New South Wales coaches have won their first game in charge. Bingo, love that. I actually love everything Madge is doing so far. What do you make of
Mm.
that stat?
Oh, it's interesting. I'm trying to think who the last 4 coaches were. So that's what
Freddie,
Freddie, Laurie Daly, Ricky Stewart,
Craig Bellamy?
Craig Bellamy. Yeah,
Huge. Yuck.
that's
Um, all right.
yeah. Well, yeah. I don't really know what to make of that.
Another stat that I found digging through the archives is that so obviously the first game is at Accor Stadium.
Hmm.
Through 31 appearances at Accor, uh, the Blues have a 65% win percentage. So,
That's not that much.
but 65% at one ground, it's pretty good. Like it's
Yeah, okay.
like when you consider that like 50% win percentage in Origin is good, like at the like that's a someone
Mm.
said, okay, they're a pretty good Origin player if they're at 50%. We'll take that. So basically game one is locked up. We've got that on wraps. Now game
Got
two,
that. All right, done.
we're going to Melbourne.
Yep.
Neutral venue. And look,
Is
for
it
the
is it neutral?
yes. For the
I feel like it's
Blues,
a lot more Queensland bias.
well, just wait for this stat.
All right,
But
continue.
for the Blues to win the Origin, I feel like we have to go up 2-0 because game three is in Suncorp, and that's just a very hard task to win a decider up there. So there has been 5 games ever at the MCG in State of Origin history. The Blues have won 4.
Oh, have we?
And the last time we lost in Melbourne, so the one time we lost in Melbourne, was in
Huh.
1995,
Was that the first one?
second.
Second. Yeah, okay.
So
Well, there you go.
19 years ago. No. Yes. No. 29 years ago. Nearly 30
Oh.
years since we've lost in Melbourne. So basically, we have one state of origin according to these stats. However, one thing to go back to Queensland, so that they don't say they're underdogs. We haven't won game one in New South Wales since 2013. But we'll ignore that.
Is that we have not won a game one in New South Wales since 2013.
Mhm.
What about I'm trying to think the 2021 series? Where was game one? Was that
Remember,
in Queen?
all that was the year that all 3 games were in Queensland.
Oh, they were. I remember. And yeah, we
Yeah.
won it in. That was great.
So
Well, and
game one, 2022 was at Accor and we lost
yep,
10-6, like 16-10.
yep.
And then the other game, like excuse opener at Accor before that was 2016. We lost 6-4.
Yeah.
And then the one before that was in 2013. So it's only been 3 in the last
Okay.
11
Okay.
years. But yeah,
Yeah. No,
so
fair enough.
still not great. It's like slim pickings there, but look, basically from what I'm concerned with is that we're winning State of Origin. Um,
Mm, yep.
so we might. I know you're a very passionate man. Let's get into just some more Origin chat now. One thing I did notice from Queensland, a big omission. David Fafita is not picked. What do you make of that one?
Uh I don't know. I don't mind the call from Billy Slater. Like, obviously, as a Blues fan, I'm happy about it. But
Hmm.
if I was a Queenslander, God forbid, I don't think David Fafita's been playing out of his skin. So who have they got in the back row? They got Jeremiah Nanai and
Jaden Sewer.
Jaden Sewer. Yeah, I think Jaden Sewer has probably earned it more this year. I think David Fafita, if we're going on pure skill, is probably a better player, a
Hmm.
game breaker. But if Origin is, all about heart and effort and, consistency and having a go, you think you've got to give it to the bloke who's, worked his ass off all year, I think. So if I'm a Queenslander, I don't mind it. And if I'm a New South Welshman, I also like it.
I think the other thing though for me is that they haven't picked a second row on the bench. They look pretty light on, but they've also got Felice Kafusi at 18th man and Piakura at 19th man. So they've picked 4 second rowers over him. I'm like, is he not in the 4 best second rowers that Queensland have got?
Oh, well. Oh, obviously he is. I think Billy's just trying to send a message to him and just let him know, if you're not going to have a go, you're not going to put him. Which I'm not saying he hasn't, but maybe that's what Billy's thinking. He's saying, you haven't been up to saying you haven't had a go. Sit out Origin this game, and hopefully that'll light a fire under him, and he'll come out and go, "I'll fucking show yous."
Well, that's it. And I think like the other thing was so Billy Slater came out and said he like hasn't been adhering to the standards that he set for him and that sort of thing. And I wonder whether one of those things is just part of those contract negotiations. I know it's off field and that sort of thing, but it's like, do we want a character around the team that's told 3 clubs he's going to go and then or 2 clubs he's going to go, told his club's going to leave, and then next thing you know he's backflipping. Like he's just upset a lot of people in that process. So
No, I remember Cherry Evans, but he's Queensland royalty now, and a few years ago they hated him because of
this is
that.
true. This is true. But anyway, but Queensland. Um, Another thing that I wanted to get your opinions on was so Matt Burton has been selected as the 14th man, 18th man for the Blues for game one. Now that obviously means he can't play for the Bulldogs this weekend. A lot of Bulldogs fans upset about this. Personally, I think suck it up. I think you should be happy that your player is selected for Origin because potentially he could get on the field. I think you probably might even, by the time that kickoff comes, Nico Hines could be out. You also like they might just see how he's playing, like training and stuff in camp and go, nah, he's got to play. And I think he'll be on the bench anyway, just because we'd have no versatility on that bench. Um, but you don't see any Dolphins fans complain about Felice Kaufusi not being there. He's a very integral player to their side. I think it's just the way the cookie crumbles. Someone's going to get like be disappointed. I understand that. Look, another club might have the buy and whatnot, so you bump that player up to 18th man and still have Burton in the squad, change around, whatever. But that's just my opinion. What do you reckon about the whole situation?
Oh, I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I reckon the Bulldogs need to suck it up, and I think Origin's the pinnacle of our game. Origin's got to come first when you picked. And I think Matt Burton's really close to being there. Like
Mm.
he's not an 18th man, like, oh, just come in and see what camp's like maybe in a couple of years. He's there. It's like Hines is a little bit in doubt, a little bit shaky. It's like if anything happens, you're next man up. Or if Madge decides at the 13th hour, I think we need a utility on the bench. You know what I mean? Burton will be there. And Burton's been there before. I think it's really important for the Blues that they keep him in that camp and in around the boys. So sorry, Bulldogs fans, but you gotta get over it.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that, like, the other factor that comes into it is the
Mm.
fact that Bulldogs are good again. Like, they're actually quite
We're gonna win
competitive.
the comp. It's the year
And
that ends in four.
that's it. But like
Everyone knows.
they are winning games and they're competitive. And
Yep.
I think like this is another weekend where it's a chance. It's a game that they probably have a decent crack at, and especially it's going to be helped if Matt Burton's there. So
Yep.
I think that's why that plays a bit more of a role as to why Bulldogs fans are so upset. But yeah, my opinion of it is
Yeah, but the good teams can still win without their best players. You know what I mean? You look at Penrith when players are out, and
well,
Brisbane
look at
when
Penrith
players are out.
this weekend. They've got like 6, 7 players out, and they're probably still going to beat the Dragons. I know it's the Dragons. We don't have our good players either, but it's you got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
Um, and let's just talk about a little bit about some squads and stuff. First off, we'll start
Mm.
with let's just give me your thoughts on Queensland Maroons. Just tell me how you feel.
What on like the team that they've picked, or how I feel about like what I think of the team they've picked, or what I think about the team and the state?
Let's go the team and the state.
Oh, I just fucking hate them. Just with a passion in me guts, like fucking. Oh, they're just dirty fucking pineapple farming, cousin marrying, fucking no teeth having, 4X drinking, fucking rednecks. Oh, there's that many Queenslanders at me work up here, and they're just fucking. Oh, we're Queensland, and Queensland's the best state. New South Wales is shit, and it's just like, mate, fuck off. You want to be us. Everybody wants to be us. Everybody wants to be New South Wales, and Queensland fucking they can't. They're just a just their arrogance, and just that they think, oh, we know what Origin's all about, and we're Origin, mate. Fuck off. You're just a bunch of fuckwit, just A grade fuckwits. I just hate them. I don't have the words. There's not words that exist in the fucking English lexicon that can explain how much I hate those fucking cane-toed grubs.
What I
Hit
hate is
that.
your Queensland spirit shit. Your fucking Queensland spirit is your
Oh,
Bundy rum. Go fuck off down the corner and drink it and piss off. Like I'm just ah I ha
oh.
or got to turn up for fucking grandma who's a battler down the road. Fucking bruh, we've got that many battlers in our New South Wales Origin side. I was messaging you about this during the week.
Yeah,
I was like, and
yeah,
I believe you said it's like a Western Sydney centric team, and I was like,
yeah.
bruh, all these blokes grew up with nothing. This state gave them the
100%.
opportunity. This jersey is what like they're representing the hardship, the sacrifice of these players, like of their families rather, like throughout
Yeah.
their upbringing and the opportunities they have now. Like a lot of the Islander boys, Ola Kawatu, Jerome Luai, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton, they've all bought their
Mhm.
families' houses. Like this is an opportunity to be provided for them by the state. You can't convince me
100%.
they're not passionate for it at all.
Yeah, their families, whether it's their parents or grandparents, whatever, have come here from overseas, from Samoa or Tonga, wherever it is, and they have built their life in this state, and this state has given them the opportunity, especially the city of Sydney has given them the opportunity, and they've fucking worked their asses off, and they've worked hard in this state, and you know what I mean. And now, for this opportunity. You know, all the community. There's such a strong community vibe out there in Western Sydney, especially out in Mount Druitt and that out in the west. Like the community vibe, the multiculturalism. You know what I mean? It's just it's an awesome thing to sort of see and be a part of, and for them boys to be able to stand there with their arms around each other and say, this is what we're fucking out here fighting for. We're every bloke getting up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning in Western Sydney, going to pick up rubbish bins out the front. All those blokes, you know what I mean? They watch the footy every night, and these are heroes, the kids in the street in Mount Druitt who don't have enough money for a footy, who are playing with the freaking, you know what I mean? Some footy that's 40 years old and it's got the bladder coming out of it. And you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're, they're playing for those kids and those blokes. And yeah, that's what they're playing for. That's what they're representing. And that, that's what the state means to me. I hope that's what it means to them. I'm sure it is.
absolutely. And that's what I love about the team that Madge has picked to bring it back to footy is that it's just a bunch of battlers. Like literally
Yeah.
everyone in that team's work ethic is insane. Like people might argue about a guy like Jerome Luai that he's like, can get caught up in the stink a little bit. But I think this year, even honestly, without Nathan Cleary, he's been playing better footy.
100%. He has earned it. When I watched him, who did they play last week?
The Sharks, a
The
proper
Sharks, yeah.
contender, and he tore him to shreds.
Luai just, yeah, he stood up and he just said, "Follow me, boys," and he was the best player on the park. He was on another level. And I think that game, I think really, I was iffy on him through the year, and that game really solidified it for me. I was like, we
Hmm.
need him in our blue side.
That's what I was thinking. Like with the amount of injuries we've had, I was like, look, Lua's probably going to be there. Don't know how I feel about it, but then this last month or so, I'm like, nah, I want him there.
Yeah, he stood up.
But it's like even you guys, like I actually love our forward pack: Jake Jaboyevich, Payne Haas, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, Cameron McInnes.
Yeah,
Like it just,
that's it's just
there's so much
the,
ticker.
the thing. I'm so happy to see Angus Crichton there talking about
Mm,
Ticker. This is a bloke who was at that level, played for Australia. I remember in the 2021 World Cup, and he was insane. Played for the Blues, and then he had that sort of all the mental health dramas and that.
hmm
And he went, checked himself into hospital, looked after himself. He come back. He was playing reserve grade. Didn't say boo. Didn't whinge. Go, oh, I want to go to another club. He played his reserve grade. Then he come back to first grade, sat on the bench, played where he could, and he's earned his way
hmm
back into that Roosters side, which is not an easy thing to do with the quality of back rowers they got at that club. And he is really just he's earned this. I'm so happy for him that he's achieved this, and he really deserves it.
And that's what I reckon. Because of all those hardships, he's going to come out. He's just going to love the moment and just try and bust as many blokes as he can. And I can't wait for it. And then you've also got on the bench, Isaiah Yo, who I think is going to come on and play a bit of front row, and then like just game breakers, the other three, Ola Kawatu, Spencer Leniu, Hudson Young. Just like
Mm.
yuck. If you're
I
Queensland, they're
I
coming out
was
going, oh,
Yeah, I was a bit iffy on the Hudson Young pick. I was like, I don't know about that. I would have liked someone like Terrell May, but I've thought about it, right? And I think what Hudson Young brings to the team, and I think what Madge is looking at, and I excuse my French, he brings cunt factor. He's got a bit of cunt about him, you know what I mean? He's got that fucking that grub in him. I love it, and I
hmm
think that's what he's going to bring to the team, and I'm,
and
I'm
that's
really
what we
looking forward to
need.
seeing how it goes. Yeah, 100%.
But this team has identity. It's good.
Yeah,
Like you can
yeah,
see what
that's
Madge is
exactly
doing.
what it's got. Yeah, it's a team of blokes, and you just look at them and you think, shit, I would not like to stand across from these blokes. I don't want to pack into a scrum against Spencer Leniu
And
and
Ola
Ola
Kawatu.
Kawatu and like, oh, and it is a side of just mean, tough freaking son of a bitches, and you're like, oh shit, it's gonna be on.
If we flick the switch and start talking about the enemy for a little while, we'll
If
go
we
through
have
their
to.
team.
Yeah.
Reece Walsh, obviously good player, fantastic,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, okay, it's gonna come back to bite me saying this, but this is probably the first few years I haven't looked at Queensland's team and gone, shit.
Yeah, I think I looked at their side. I tried to pick my own Queensland side a couple of weeks ago, and it was strange because when I picked like the blue side that I thought should play, there were so many options, and it was a lot of blokes had to leave out that I wanted to put in. The
Mhm.
Queensland side, I was kind of like, there's not that, everyone's there. It's like, who else are you going to pick
They
but
sort of
Reece
pick
Walsh? Who,
themselves, yeah.
who else are you going to pick but the Hammer and Valentine Holmes? And like, who else? It was just kind of like. And then the only question was like, oh, Tommy Dearden or Ezra Mann, but that wasn't even that much of a question. That was
No,
kind of like, oh,
well, because
yeah.
Edgermere hasn't been in that good a form really compared to last year. Tommy, like,
Mm,
that's the thing. They're like none of the Queensland teams. I mean, Broncos are still good, but none of them are really killing it this year.
no,
Well, Dolphins too. Sorry, forgot about that. But a lot of their players aren't actually Queenslanders. Um,
fins
because you got
up.
like Val Holmes, not in great form. Murray Taulagi, I'm actually kind of surprised that he's playing. But again,
Yeah, I didn't have.
those two guys are just probably got to go out there and carve up. Um, Tommy Dearden's still been playing good footy. Jeremiah Nanai, suspect defensively, and I think he's going to be on Cherry Evans' edge, which I'm like, whoever's Blues left side second row, Angus Crichton, get on him.
Mm,
Love that.
yep.
Um, and then Selwyn Cobo on the bench, so rogue. But that's their bench is very light on. They've got one front rower and
Yep.
Jermaine Hopgood
A
in the
lot.
middle. So it's like, and
It's
that's what I reckon we're getting them through the middle because our bench is so jam packed with massive forwards.
yeah.
Like,
They've got some really good like forwards in Ruben Cotter and Jeremiah Nanai, not Jeremiah Nanai, and Ruben Cotter, Patrick Carrigan,
yeah.
and like them two are blokes who can play whole games. You don't worry about them, and they're goals, and you know they'll give it everything they got and go all game. But
Hmm.
how do they and Lindsay Collins as well? But when you've got first Payne Haas and Jake Trbojevic coming at you, and Payne Haas is just the best front rower in the world. Jake Trbojevic is going to give his whole heart to everything he does, and then blokes coming off the bench like Lenu and Olakawatu and Yo, like how
Well,
do they compete with?
I think it's different this year when you've got Zach Lomax running for 150
Mm,
meters, Brian Totter running for 200, Dylan Edwards running for 200, Joseph Swaley running for 150, Stephen
yeah.
Crichton running for 150 meters, and then Payne Haas as well. And then off the bench, you've got those other guys like Spencer Lenu. You just like you're already gassed because you've had to tackle these massive bodies for 25 minutes, and you go look up and go, okay, cool, got a fresh Spencer Lenu on. Sick.
Did you hear what Brandon Smith said about Spencer Lenu on the podcast with James Graham?
No, I didn't. Enlighten me.
He said it's a lot like Jared Rea Hargreaves. He said off the field, he's the nicest, most genuine bloke you ever meet. Do anything for anyone, like
Hmm.
you love him, like He said, but on the field, there's just like a switch is flicked, and they're a different person. He said on the
Yeah.
field, they're an absolute fuckwit, just a mean, angry person who just wants to fight everyone and bash
Hmm.
people and hurt people for fun. I love that off the bench.
I'd hate to play against him. Would love to play with
That's
him,
I feel
but I'd
like that's
hate
what
to play
Origin's
against him.
about. You know what I mean? Just that
Yeah,
that
it's the
hate, that
contest. He
aggression.
loves the contest. Ah.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Um. Anyway, we might move on a little bit from Origin chat. I'm sure just throughout this we'll circle back. But
Right, right.
so it's, I mean, New South Wales Origin Stadium, a core stadium. I've always said that I think the way it should be used is similar to Wembley in England. Now, I know our game is structured differently and a lot of money is generated for clubs from taking games out to a core, but I feel like
Yep.
a core stadium with 80,000 people in it is so different to a core stadium with
Oh,
8,000 people in it. So, like, I personally think it should be reserved for Origins, prelim finals, grand finals, because you have a look at when like the Rabbitohs played on a Thursday night recently
mm,
against someone. I know the Rabbitohs are struggling and stuff, but it's sort of been a bit of a thing for ages, and it's because they're based out from Redfern. I do think that we need to have a look at it, like just at least play them at the SFS or something, because like even the Bulldogs, they got 15,000 against the Dragons last Thursday night. If that's at Belmore, that looks sick. At ANZ,
yeah.
it looks or a core, it looks gross.
I am 1000% in agreement with you. I was actually just I didn't know you're going to bring this up, but I was talking to someone about it the other day, and I was saying what they should do is put money into developing Redfern and Belmore and making them stadiums that can hold, 20,000 people or whatever. You imagine if they redevelop Redfern so they could play NRL games there, right? Imagine the crowd. You would
Hmm.
imagine all those toothless South fans scream like, "Come on, Souths!" You'd have 40 like you'd have people hanging off the rafters there. The atmosphere would be insane. The atmosphere at Belmore is always good because it's like it's a cultural thing. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
in the area. It's where all them blokes live.
But
You
and
know,
that's what rugby league is at its core. That
100%. It's
tribalism from your
tribal.
area.
It's tribalism, and that's okay. Back to Origin. That's the whole thing we're talking about. Origin, like
Hmm.
it's tribalism, and that's what it is with the clubs. You know what I mean? Like play at Redfern, play at Belmore. Play at Leichhardt. Play, yeah, 100%. I agree. A core should be reserved for big finals, Origins, grand finals. That should be it.
Yeah, like I knew you'd agree. Like I just wanted that affirmation
Oh,
surrounding
you got
that.
it, mate. I'll affirm you every day of the week, even if you're wrong, but you're not this time. You're right.
All right, we are unfortunately we have to watch some club football this weekend. I know all the stars aren't going to be there,
Hmm.
and it just by round footy does genuinely suck a little bit. But I'm gonna run through the games, my tips, your tips. Eels versus
Hmm.
Sharkies. Where you leaning for that one?
Sharks.
I'm going the Eels.
Nah, I think with the Eels, they've just sacked their coach. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting. If we can find out this stat, okay.
Oh,
After clubs have sacked their coaches mid-year, what is the percentage of games they win like right after? Because
oh,
there's one
it's
every year.
not great. It's
That's I'm just thinking. Nah.
um, but my
Who
thing
who
is.
comes into the halves for the Sharks?
I think I was going to quickly check who was named. I believe Braden Trindle is back.
Yeah,
I think he's allowed to play again.
Trindle and
So between
what's
Trindle
his
and
name?
Atkinson,
Atkins. Yeah, Atkinson.
which is still pretty handy. But
Hmm.
not Penrith, Parramatta, they're full strength. Mitch Moses is back. Clint Gutherson's back. Like, I suppose they don't have Jermaine Hopgood, but I don't reckon they've got any excuse.
Yeah, oh, no, I agree with you. I just don't think they have it in them. Where's it being played at?
Combank.
Okay, I'm going to stick with the Sharks, but I won't be super surprised if Parramatta win, but I think the Sharks will do it.
I just think Origin by round footy, it's yuck footy. It's
Anything
just
can
gonna happen.
happen. So
And yeah, Atkinson and Trindle are the halves, so still
yeah.
pretty handy. And then we've got your Newcastle Knights versus the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
The Knights don't have anyone out. The Bulldogs have who do they have out? Burton,
N-
Crichton. Is that it?
Um, yes, Burton Crichton. Bradman Best is out for the Knights.
Yeah, he's been out for the last week or no, he was because we had a bye.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see Christian Mapapaleng. Oh, sorry, my tip. I'm going to go with the Knights.
Yes, me
I'm
too.
excited to see Christian Mapapaleng get a go.
Yeah, it'd be good for. I just want to see it like just stay injury free, to be honest.
Yeah, poor
Um,
bloke.
then we've got Panthers New South Wales Cup side versus the Dragons New South Wales Cup side.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna take Penrith. I think they can do it.
Yeah, me too.
They got that next man up mentality. Penrith will do it.
Dragons team has a lot of outs as well. It's just yeah. Um,
Mm.
Dolphins versus the Raiders at Redcliffe.
Fins up, baby.
Finns, Finns will get the job done there. I know Poplar is back for the Raiders. A lot of Raiders fans excited about that, but Finns will be too strong.
Mm.
And then last game of the round is the Chooks versus the Cows.
Chalks.
Yeah, Chooks. Cows have been awful
Yep.
and they lose all their good players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it? Oh, it's a split round.
Yes, it is. So we do have some questions from you guys to answer for the remainder of this podcast. We got one,
Thank you
two,
to the
three,
fan.
4, 5, 6. Thank you to the tradies out there. You've now been dubbed. I don't reckon that'll stick for very long.
Oh
Um,
no, I love it. The tradies.
and just it's a piss take. All right. Okay. First question is from Paulie Triple G. He
Yep.
said, this is a question directed at the Dragons. He said, based off results so far, am I excited with the direction Flano is taking the Dragons? Now, obviously, we got pumped on the weekend. We've been pumped by the Cowboys and pumped by the Roosters. Apart from that, yes, I am quite happy with how we're going. Like the few games we've won, we've looked very good. Like that game against the Warriors is the best I've seen the Dragons play in a long time. We just if we can get over that toxic losing, giving up culture, I reckon we're sweet. Like we've already won more games than we had last year. What do you reckon about how the Dragons are shaping up this year?
I've got an idea. This has nothing to do with anything you just said.
Cool.
An idea of I just thought of what they can do to fix the Dragons, right?
Here we go.
Okay.
Move them.
So after the next Papua New Guinea side comes in, and then after the Perth Bears come in, right?
Go
When we
back to the
decide to
Steelers.
add when we decided another team, let's take St George and put them in Adelaide, and let's just have our
Yeah.
Steelers back because
Sounds good.
you can't get
Sounds
rid of
good.
St George because I guess they're fucking got all this history and they're 100 years old, whatever. But fuck me, how like, you and me both as Illawarra boys, how good would it be to have a proper Illawarra Steelers team?
I
Like,
agree.
mate, you would pack out Win Stadium every
Oh,
week. I guarantee
every
you.
week. And I've always said this. I don't think there's a place in the world that has a sporting team where less people follow it.
Yeah, they're in the town,
No one
right?
cares about the Dragons. I grew up in
Yep.
Illawarra, smack bang in the middle of Illawarra, and got teased growing up for going for the team that was from our area.
100%. 100%.
Imagine,
But if it
imagine
was
that happened in
Illawarra,
Newcastle.
it wouldn't. It would never happen in Newcastle. Everyone's a Knights fan, right? That's
Hmm.
because the team's got identity. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
We're Newcastle, we're a Steel City, where, in Wollongong, if it was the Steelers, we would have that exact same thing. It would be, we're a Steel City, we're Wollongong, the most beautiful. I love, all right, I'm going to say this. I think Wollongong's the best city on the planet, by the way.
If true.
Anyway,
If true.
and the Illawarra as a whole. Kids growing up would be like, yeah, this is Illawarra, this is us. I went to school with these kids. The blokes playing it there would be like, this is our team. We watch them train. I see these blokes at the shops. This represents us. St. George, like, it just fucking go away. Go to Adelaide.
Yeah, and it's like you got all these kids that grow up like, and then you get to the Harold Matts SG ball system playing for the Steelers, and then all of a sudden you get to twenties and it's the Dragons. It's like, you just sort of lose all that identity for where you.
Have you ever looked at the results of when they play SG Ball Steelers versus St. George?
It's been pretty good.
The Steelers flog St. George 9 times out of 10. St.
Yeah,
George has got no good. Illawarra, all the juniors come there. And maybe if they were Steelers and they got, a different board and a better board, maybe they'd be able to keep some of their good juniors.
maybe.
Or tell you what, do this on your Instagram. Make a team, all right, of all Illawarra juniors and see how good it is.
All right, we'll do. We've got 3 minutes to fly through the rest of these questions. Okay. This
Sorry,
next
my
one
bad.
from Matthew Acred underscore. Here we go. He said, would you rather have Drew Hutchinson or Tanner Boyd as your halfback and captain?
Fuck me, I'll go out and play. Um, Oh, Drew Hutchison, I guess he's been playing more first grade. Stop picking on him. He's all right. He's doing better than any of you fucking making comments.
Yeah. Uh, I'll
Drew
go
Hutchison, I
Tanner
guess.
just to cause some beef. Nikki
No,
underscore Bird 74 has asked, should there be a Pacifica series at the same time as State of Origin?
not at the same time, but yes, there should
Yeah,
be at a different time of the year. Maybe postseason or just
postseason.
before preseason. Postseason would be good. I think a Tonga Samoa rivalry could, who knows what could happen in the future, but I think that could be a great rivalry, the same as, not quite the same, but almost as good as Queensland and New South Wales.
Yeah. All right. Sam underscore Matthew 89 asks, favorite NRL and sports rivalry?
Um,
I can go first, give you some time to
NRL.
think.
Okay, yeah, you go.
NRL, Dragons vs Roosters, Anzac Day, love it. As a Dragons fan, that's my bread and butter. Sports rivalry, as a Liverpool fan, I'd probably say Liverpool, Manchester United, or Liverpool, Man City. That'd be up there for me. Oh,
Um,
State of Origin.
obviously.
Yeah.
But for me, NRL, I'm going Newcastle and Manly.
Oh, yeah.
Especially back during the late '90s and that when you had the opposing the Newcastle front rowers of Paul Harrigan and Tony Butterfield and the Manly front rowers of Spud Carroll and Cement Gillespie,
Mm.
like that's a contest. And sport, I don't really watch any other sports
Yeah.
besides footy, but yeah, no, I've got nothing for you. Sorry. Celtic and fucking what's the other team? The Rangers.
Rangers.
There you go. Who are who
Um,
are?
Quickly on the spot, Lockie Woodham has asked us, who do you think will have the biggest impact in game one of State of Origin?
Oh fuck, that's a good question. Biggest impact. Nico Hines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's who I was thinking. Cool. If he plays. And then last
He
off,
will.
Lucas Parsons asks, do you think New South Wales sweep 3-0 or will Queensland forfeit after losing the first two by 50 each?
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
forfeit the
each
Cats.
of
They
them.
don't get it. They're too soft. Fuck
Yeah, they
Queensland.
don't
We're out
get
of here.
Origin.
Up the
They don't
Blues. Let's
understand
go.
Origin.